The HABD Board of Commissioners is now called to order. We'll start with a moment of silence. Amen. Roll call. Commissioner Hood.
Present.
Commissioner Pantazis.
Present.
Commissioner Lewis. Commissioner Lewis. Commissioner Lewis, you present? Unless she has a sound on, but she's here. Okay. Okay, hold on. This is her call me. Hey, Commissioner Lewis, you can't hear? Yes, ma'am, I see your face. She said she's not hearing anything, no sound. Make sure you have your speaker on. You're not on mute, are you?
Volume up.
Got your volume up? Yes, ma'am. Okay, all right.
It looks like she froze because I'm looking at her picture. She's not even.
Oh, okay. She might need to log out and log back in. Oh, she good, okay. Hello, Commissioner, can you hear us? Froze again.
It's moving.
Okay. Hello, Commissioner? All right, we're going to proceed, and I think she'll get it together here in a second. Adoption of the agenda. We have one change. We're going to eliminate item 7 from the agenda, and that item will be placed on the agenda for the next board meeting. So if I can entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the exception of eliminating item 7.
So moved.
It's been moved. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All right, and then we have one change. We're going to do a little switcheroo here. We're going to do item 6 before item 5. If that's okay with my colleagues, if that's your pleasure, we want to switch the order from item 6. We'll do that one first, and then we'll come back to item 5. So if I can get general consent to make that change. All right, thank you. All right. And so what we'll do now is we'll do item 6. If I could get Reverend Todd to meet me down here at the podium, and we've got a presentation. Is it right? Is it right? All right, are we on terrain? Okay. All right, so as most of you know, our dear Reverend Dr. Morrell Todd is transitioning off of the Board of Commissioners as a 2-term commissioner, long-serving commissioner of the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District. And what we wanted to do today is we just wanted to acknowledge his service to not only the Board of Commissioners, but the citizens and the residents of Birmingham at large. Not only has Reverend Todd served admirably as a member of the HAB Board of Commissioners, but he has served throughout this community on behalf of the residents of the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District for over 40 years with different services that he's brought to the agency, whether it was through contract services or as a community member. So we just wanted to acknowledge that today and let you know how much we thank you for your service to not only the board, but not only the staff, but to the residents of the city of Birmingham. You serve admirably, and we served together for over 7 years. And this is bittersweet for me because Reverend Todd and I have established a relationship that has far surpassed a colleague relationship. And I don't mind saying this publicly. Reverend Todd has surpassed being a friend. Reverend Todd has served as a spiritual advisor to me and my family, and so this is bittersweet. However, our relationship will go on. But I just want to acknowledge what you've meant to me and my family. Reverend Todd has been there for me at some of the toughest times of my life, and I just want to thank you for being that person that we can lean on. One of the things that I'd say I like most about Reverend Todd is that, when there are decisions that need to be made when it comes to policy or the residents, Reverend always looks at it from the spiritual perspective. And I know that there are carnal decisions that have to be made, but it's always spiritual. It's always, okay, well, how is this going to affect the residents? And it's always has a spiritual backing behind it. Anytime we discuss anything, whether it be housing authority related, he's gonna give you a word. And if you know Reverend Todd, you know he's gonna give you a word, whether no matter what it is. And I just appreciate you having that the way about you, that spiritual leadership where you're not ashamed, you're not afraid to provide that advice coming from a spiritual perspective. And so I just wanted to share that, but I'm going to be short. I'm not going to carry on because I think you got some other folks that want to speak, and so we're going to be brief. But I just wanted to acknowledge you, let you know how much we love you, and from a personal standpoint, let you know how much you've meant to me in my life. I tell you, this year has been one of the toughest years, I would say, as far as with changes that we've made here, the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District, and I'll be honest, Reverend, if it wasn't for you and your leadership and you being able to mend fences, to bridge gaps, I probably wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for your leadership and willingness to provide that leadership to help bring things to a peaceful ending and a calm resolve. I think that's one of the gifts that you have. You have that gift of bringing a calm resolve to a stormy situation. And so I just want to thank you for that. But before I give the mic over to you, I just wanted to read this award here, and it reads, the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District would like to present the Distinguished Service Award to Morel Todd for 10 years of dedication and unwavering commitment to the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District Board of Commissioners, date from August 2010 to August 2020. And before I give the mic up again, I do want to say this. A lot of you may know this, but we have honored Reverend Todd, and anybody that knows anything about the Kingston community of Morton Simpson, that will no longer be Morton Simpson community. It will be the Reverend Dr. Morel Todd community. And that deserves a hand. Well, with that being said, Reverend Todd, again, we just want to thank you for your hard work, your dedication, your faithfulness to this agency. And I just want to say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. And one of those is the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District. Right.
I want to say to Chairman Davis and to the interim director, to Trail Foster, and to the rest of the commissioners who are present here and also on Zoom, and to the staff that is present, recognizing our president of clergy concerned for the community is with us today, Reverend Harold Bass, other ministers who are present, and to all the staff. I'm just thankful that I had the opportunity over 10 years to share in the endeavors to bring about some miracles and miraculous changes that transpired in the lives of our residents. And one of the things I know that as you continue, brother, in this endeavor, I know there are going to be some horrific changes because you have a board of commissioners that I know has the resident at heart. I want to pivot off something that been just out through the community saying Black Life Matter. I want to take that and say resident life matter. So every decision that is made have to be resident focused on enhancing, bringing integrity, bringing structure, bringing some spiritual guidance to help govern the lives of our people in residential service who need a special leadership purpose. In a situation, being a board of commissioner, we had to put aside petty principles, petty decisions, and look for the common good for all the residents. Sometimes we get caught up in personal rather than what is correct. So again, I thank God I had the privilege of being part of this great ministry, this commission, this Housing Authority ministry. And I want to say to Dortrell, she's very petite in size, but she carries a lot of weight in her spiritual guidance, her determination to make this housing authority be what it all could be. And this was her second time, it was her second time rather, in a situation like this here, and she had adamantly carried this agency. And she carried it with integrity, with punctuality, being timely and very responsive. And I want to appreciate having an opportunity to know you in that position. And then we got our miracle worker, financial miracle worker, Ms. Abberton. She was like, I'm not all of that, but yes. She have done some wonders with them numbers. When we had to make some financial decisions, she made it happen. And then I like her just being forefront. It's just not there. Or she would create some kind of way to make it happen. So thank God for her and Ms. Mitchell, Ms. Drake, and all of those persons who have served so adamantly with us. And we just thank God for all of you. And I know Dr. Hood and Dr. Patazia and Ms. Lewis, and welcoming to Mrs. Thompson to this new arising, and the new challenge is going to be very fruitful for the organization. And I'm just praying God's blessings upon you, that you continue to do those things as God's wisdom leads you to do. And I'm just, again, thank you for accepting this appointment. And then finally, I want to say to the chairman, I tell you, we don't have some midnight struggles. We don't have some good times in discussing what's the best practice for the housing authority in general. Which direction are we trying to go? How we pivot off of some suggestion from the commissioners old had put in place. 'Cause a lot of these things you see materializing now didn't start yesterday. It started some years back. And some are just getting the fruit of the labor of some people who labored to get the resident to this point in their lives. And one thing we got to remember as we go through these processes, don't never forget from which you have come from. I know people saying we got to do a new thing, but you got to be careful about doing too many new things when the old things are already still working. So you got to be very careful about that. So I'm asking and believing through Cordell leadership, who has been adamantly a good leader, making very tough decisions, guiding the board and also the housing authority staff in a very positive way. And I agree with him. We began to have more than just a board relationship. We became good friends, and then I become a mentor, and then now I told him he's not my son now. So we just don't went all the way with that thing. You know, so he and I still would be having conversations, and I know as a board member, he telling me something that's going on, but I ain't got to worry about that. He come and tell you something about what I learned over the 10 years. You ain't got to say nothing, because some kind of way the folks gonna tell you. Some kind of way people find out information. And I'm gonna still be a visible sight in the community doing great things with the clergy that is concerned with the community. And that's just the end. I just want to say I enjoy it. And Kizzy, she can't hear me. Every week she packed my lunch. Every time we have a board meeting, she packed my lunch. And not only do I pack my lunch, she packed my wife's lunch too. That's a secret now. That's a secret. So we're gonna miss that. And I also, Ms. Bibbs, you talking about an organized person. I mean, she can take a crooked pathway and make it straight. I don't know how she pulls her way through all that stuff, but I know it's divine guidance that get her through all this. And we just thank God for what she also do as well. Again, I just thank each and every last one of you for the great work. And I know this is not the protocol or anything like that. I know y'all got a lot of things on the agenda. And Ms. Lewis, I know you, if you can hear me now, we thank God for you. And we just pray that your blessing upon your life and with this board as well. Out of protocol, I just want to recognize in this moment the clergy that are concerned. Some of them are here to support me. I just want them to just stand for a moment, let everybody see who you are. Amen.
Reverend Todd, I don't mean to cut you off, but we'll give them a couple of minutes if they would like to.
I wanted to, you know something, you're totally spiritual. Come on, Dr. Bass.
Yeah.
And when Dr. Bass is coming, and Eddie, and also our brother, Dr. Clark, coming. And I want to say to Attorney Moore, I tell you, you have been a blessing in getting a legal guidance. I don't know what the Lord has further, but I pray that some type of unification come together in this agreement, because you have really done your due diligently. That's his word. Making sure. I appreciate knowing the time that I got a chance to meet you. Come on.
If I was at church, I would say, let the church say amen. Let me say that we are Clergy Concerned for the Community Incorporated. We are a group of pastors from across the city who are now risen up to speak on behalf to give the residents in the city a voice, of which Dr. Todd is a member. I'm honored to be here to support him. I wouldn't have missed it for nothing in the world. We actually had a meeting scheduled at 12 o'clock today with the clergy. We canceled that meeting so that we can be in this meeting. Dr. Todd has been effective in his work, not only here at the Housing Authority, but in our community. I also serve in the community as a pastor. I'm on 35th, he's there in SIPCO, and his name carries value in our area. And so we wanted to let him know that we are grateful to have him to be a part of the clergy, and we look forward to doing great work with him. Housing Authority is losing a great person, but we're quite sure that you're going to continue to do some great work.
They say, well, two or three gather together, so I believe we are in church. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I just want to say congratulations to Dr. Todd Dr. Todd and I, we go way back. So since we go so far back, it's just so much I'm not going to tell y'all today. But I want to say congratulations. You know, God has really chosen a great person to do what you do. You know, we grew up in the same church. We had the same pastor. We finished the same high school. So congratulations. God bless you in a mighty way. Amen.
I'm Pastor Gregory Clark of New Hope Baptist Church, clergy concerned for community, and also Birmingham Peacemakers. I have a heart, a passion for our communities and our people, and I want to congratulate Pastor Todd because he shares the same vision and hopes and aspirations that I do for seeing a community that has been led by Christian values, and a man that stands on principles and stands on his word. His record speaks for himself, not just with the housing authority, but in the Christian community throughout this north side of Birmingham. He is recognized as a man of great spiritual integrity. And I count him a very dear friend of mine, and glad to be here to congratulate him on this day. God bless you.
All right, I want to say again, thank all of you. And I know that y'all got a meeting ahead of you. And I just know that you're going to continue to do the good work that you're supposed to do. And I might have missed some names, but if I miss you, I want you to know that I appreciate all the work that you have done. And you continue to do good works. Again, if you need me, I'll just be a phone call away. So anything you need. Thank you again,
All right.
Dr. Moore and everyone. I mean, Dr. Hood and everybody else, y'all just be blessed. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. All right. Reverend Todd, don't leave. I think we need to get some photos. Dr. Hood just brought that to my attention. I don't think we got any photos with the award. So we'll come back home.
Commissioner Davis, this is Ms. Lewis.
Yes, Commissioner.
Could you let, I'm having technical difficulties, but could you let Reverend Todd know that I piggyback on everything? I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person, and I'm sorry I'm having technical difficulties, but I appreciate working with him. I'm gonna miss him, and he was a source of inspiration to me the entire time I was on the board. And thank you so much for being able to work with him. Thank you.
Thank you. He heard you loud and clear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
While we're taking those pictures there, if any other commissioners would like to make any comments, Dr. Hood, we'll start with you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure getting to know Reverend Dr. Todd. It's only been a year. I wish I had more time with you, but you still here, you're not moving. So hopefully I still have access to you to continue to get counsel and guidance from you.
Thank you. Commissioner Pantazis.
Yes, Reverend Todd, we're going to miss you. And I just want to express how much of an honor and a privilege it was over this past year to witness your guidance, your leadership, your compassion, and your kindness, not only to the members of the board and staff, but most importantly, our residents. And I was telling somebody the other day, I mean, you're just really the true definition of a servant leader. And I just hope and pray that we can continue to honor your legacy and the work we do. And I just thank you for all your time spent with us and all the guidance you've given us. Best of luck with everything. And please do answer my call when I try and schedule lunch with you sometime soon.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. All right. Thank you so much, Reverend. God bless you. We love, Reverend Todd.
I just want to say on behalf of the employees of the House Authority of Birmingham District, we want to say thank you so much. We were blessed to have someone that have a passion to serve as you do. And we're grateful for all the inspirational words you provide to us during our employee luncheon. We didn't attend your church physically, but we had church at employee luncheon once and twice. So thank you so much for that. And I do want to say that as of yesterday, it's been official that you, Morton Simpson is currently now Reverend Dr. Maria Todd Holmes.
All right.
So we'll be reaching out to you soon for a ceremony.
Thank you very much. Again, y'all be blessed.
Thank you, Reverend. Love you. All right. All right. Yes. Yes.
This is CPAB, Miss Davis.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I would like to thank Reverend Todd for all the work that he did for the residents and all the backing that he did for the CPAB board. We will truly miss him. We will continue to keep in touch with him, and we will always love you. Thank you so much for supporting all the residents and for all the good work that you have done to make our lives better each and every day. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Davis.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Davis. Thank you. All right. All right. Thank you, Reverend. All right. All right. Thank you so much. All right. So now we're going to go back to item 5. So we'll do our swearing in of our newly appointed commissioner, Ms. DeWanda Thompson. So Attorney Moore, if you can meet Ms. Thompson at the podium. Attorney, before you get, want to make sure we got everybody in place. We got everybody in place, Ms. Thompson. You got your camera ready.
Like, yeah, you can stand here, and I'm gonna stand over here. Okay, all right. Ready? You'll repeat after me. I state your name. Being about to enter upon the execution of the duties of the Office of Commissioner of Housing Authority of the Birmingham District. Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Alabama, so long as I continue as a citizen thereof, and that I will faithfully and honestly discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability. So help me God.
All right. All right, Ms. Thompson, congratulations, and you may now take your seat on the dais. All right, Ms. Thompson, we're so glad to have you, and we've heard so many great things about you. I know we just met here a few weeks ago, but I feel like I've been knowing you for 5 years. So we look forward to you just jumping right in, feet first, and we have a lot of work to be done, but we feel like that you're the right person for the right time, and we just so looking forward to working with you. We know you come with a extensive resume, especially on the community services side, and that speaks to my heart, and I know it speaks to a lot of our residents' hearts. So we just feel like that you're going to be a valued asset to this agency and to this board. What I want to do at this time is I want to present you with a housing authority of the Birmingham District lapel pin. So when you're traveling all across the country and the world doing great things, wherever you go, I want you to wear this pin, and somebody asks you what that is. So I'm a board of commissioner for the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District, and we're doing great work in Birmingham. So I would like to present you with this commemorative HABD lapel pin.
Thank you so much.
All right, very good, very good. All right, so we'll go back to move down to item 8, approval of the minutes for regular meeting July 16th, 2020.
I'm all for a motion that we approve the minutes as laid out in the September board packet.
A second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that item's approved. All right, so we're down to old business. Any old business that we need to discuss? Old business. All right, hearing none. Any new business? New business. Well, we don't have any new business from any of the other commissioners. I would like to give the public an update on where we are as far as our president CEO search. We've had an extensive few weeks doing interviews. I want to publicly thank my colleagues here on the board for spending a lot of your time, especially on last week. Those were some long days, but it was worth it. We really had some outstanding candidates. I mean, best in class in the area of public housing. So we really had some tough decisions to make, but thank you for giving of your time to be a part of this process. We are down to our finalists, and we will have our finalist presentations on September the 23rd. I think that's I'm not sure what day that is, on Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. And so we will do that. We will have a panelist of staff members and also residents that will be sitting in on these interviews, presentations, if you will, and they will be providing feedback, oral and written feedback to this board on those presentations. So we're looking to have a complete engagement from our staff and our residents. So we're looking forward to a great day on the 23rd, and we'll give you more information on that as it becomes available. So I just want to give the public, staff, residents, updates on where we are in that process. So, hopefully on the 23rd, we will be selecting a new president CEO. That's not in concrete. We still have to deliberate. It may take us past the 23rd, but, just want to let you know where we are. So in the spirit of transparency, wanted to make sure that information got out. All right. Is anything any other commissioners want to add to that, you feel free to do so, but I just want to make sure we got that information out to the public.
I think that's good. The only thing I'd add is that I think you've done a great job running the search, as our consultant has too, and I think we're making some good progress.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Pantazis. We just want to give kudos to our third-party consultant. They spent a lot of hours researching, interviewing candidates, checking references and things of that nature, really taking a deep dive into this process. So I don't know if they're on the call or not, but we just want to thank them for the process that they have put together to this point. So again, thank you to my colleagues, and thank you to our consultant and our attorney. We can't forget our attorney for advising and making sure that we're not doing anything that will run afoul of the law. So thank you for advising during that process and giving of your time as well. All right. All right, so now we're down to our interim president CEO's report. Mrs. Foster.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Attorney Moore, all that are present today. Before I give my report, I want to first say congratulations to Mr. Wanda Thompson on her appointment. We welcome you to the Housing Authority of Birmingham District Board of Commissioners, and we look forward to working with you and your support to the agency. So thank you so much. Appreciate that. To begin my report, first I want to thumbs up. Can everyone hear me? I know my voice be a little light sometimes. Okay, perfect. HABD is continually working with testing agents to perform testing monthly at the community sites. We encourage employees and residents to comply with the CDC guidelines to eliminate the contamination of others by wearing their mask and practice social distancing in the office and public areas. On September 4th, 2020, the CDC issued a notice and order to temporarily cease residential evictions due to non-payment of rent. This order is separate from the eviction moratorium under the CARES Act. This order is in effect from September 4th, 2020, from December 31st, 2020. Under this order, tenants cannot be evicted for non-payment of rent, provided the tenant signs the declaration that outlines eligibility. Once the resident signs the declaration, they will be covered persons under the order. This required declaration has been made available to all residents that may be subject to eviction due to non-payment of rent. Housing Operations Department are working to ensure all residents that qualify are covered. This order does not relieve the resident's obligation to pay rent, and the resident must continue to comply with terms under their lease. HABD encourage residents, if you can, please pay your rent monthly. We will continue to work with residents for resources and workout agreements as requested. On September 14, 2020, this is in addition to my report. On September 14, 2020, HUD submitted a PIH notice to extend the expenditures of the CARES Act funds to December 31st, 2021. HUD is implementing a format for quarterly reporting. The first quarterly report is due October 10, 2020, unless the reporting portal is delayed by HUD. This information will be shared during the October board meeting. Going to our operational updates. HABD received notification from HUD the approval of the HABD annual plan that was submitted April 17, 2020. HABD continues the partnership with Alabama Power to provide Wi-Fi services throughout all HABD communities. Alabama Power is working with a private vendor, Wi-Fiber, to build the network and deploy the technology. This technology will be placed on the Alabama Power poles, which will allow internet services throughout all HABD communities. This partnership is inclusive of Birmingham City School, Jefferson County Schools, City of Birmingham, and Jefferson County Commission. HABD installation is scheduled to begin mid-October. The partnership with the Birmingham City School continues to ensure every child within public housing has an electronic device for virtual learning. HABD has committed to filling the gap, providing devices to school-aged children in public housing. As Birmingham City School continues to distribute devices to the children in the school system, public housing families will be routed to a HABD staff contact to receive the device. These devices will be signed out and distributed to families that are in need. HABD is providing virtual homework help for all youth ages 6 to 18, Monday through Friday. HABD is working with the CPAB and County Commissioner Sheila Tyson and her team to host community voter registration and U.S. Census drives weekly. The community engagement staff are making calls to the residents. As of September 9th, out of 1,032 residents, 89 have not registered to vote and 140 have not participated in the U.S. Census. The community engagement team are providing rides to the courthouse to participate in the absentee voter registration through October 29th, 2020 for the senior and disabled residents. And we're using our HABD buses to provide those services, and CDC guidelines are followed during that time. HABD is working with the U.S. Census Bureau to assist with reaching out to every resident that have not completed their form. We're making every effort to certify every resident will be reached by September 29th. HABD is working on an initiative with Birmingham Strong to provide child care services to working parents in their communities. This initiative will assist working parents with school-aged children during the virtual learning. HABD will cover the cost with the CARES Act funds through the first 9 weeks of school, and we are identifying available slots from various agencies. So currently we have 250 slots that are available, and we're going to extend this out to residents that are seeking employment through our FSS program as well. Ms. Sharia Turner, Director of Communications, working with Mr. Armand Matthews, Interim VP of Community Engagement, to highlight all HABD partners and sharing services provided to the residents. Mr. Matthews and I engaged in a conference call with Dr. Denise Cleveland-Leggett, HUD Regional Administrator, this morning, and her team to share their enthusiasm on HABD commitment and expansion of services at the Campus of Hope. So I want to say congratulations to Mr. Matthews and his team. The board approved HABD to move forward with a consultant, Brenshaw Development, to engage with the Choice Neighborhood Grant. HABD team and the consultant decided, due to the Choice Neighborhood Planning Grant, the deadline It was not in the best interest to receive the planning grant, but consider the implementation grant when it becomes available. Last couple of weeks, the NOFA for the implementation grant has been posted. HABD met with the consultants, the resident presidents of Smithfield Court and Ilson Village, and the city of Birmingham to discuss the submission of the Choice Neighborhood Implementation Grant, which is due December 16, 2020. All partners are committed to make this submission a success. The Brenshaw Development Team is working on a robust community engagement plan to accommodate the pandemic environment. A report will be presented to the board prior to submission. Barrington is 98% complete with construction and currently working on the punch list to finalize the closeout. This property is part of the first RAD phase of Tom Brown. HABD has 22 RAD units on the Barrington property. Tom Brown residents had the right to return to those units, and the remaining units were given preference to the Southtown residents due to the redevelopment of Southtown Court. The residents will be prepared to move in by the end of this month. A small ribbon cutting ceremony will be scheduled in October 2020. We met with the right to return residents of Freedom Manor on several occasions to discuss their return to Freedom Manor. A safety protocol has been put in place to ensure the safety of the residents and the employees. Ms. Valerie Holmes, LIHTC Compliance Manager, will provide an update in her report today. The residents are scheduled to begin signing their lease Monday, September 21st, 2020. Ms. Kendra Drake, VP of Sissy Housing and I had the privilege of joining HUD national and local representatives and 2 HUD Southeast Region Foster Youth to Independence webinars on August 18th and September 2nd to provide insight into how the agency changes lives through the Foster Youth Initiative. This initiative allows for public housing authorities to receive an allocation of tenant protection vouchers to serve youth under the age of 25 with a history of child welfare involvement on the brink of homelessness. Congratulations to Ms. Drake and her team. We have 10 participants and successfully housed 4 foster care youth. Before I conclude my report, I would like to acknowledge Carolyn Avington, our Vice President of Finance and Administration. After 14 years of service, she will be resigning from her position in October. Ms. Avington and I have worked closely during her tenure at the Housing Authority. I say she is very passionate about her work and full of knowledge. She always expresses how she cares about the agency. We will miss you and wish you much success. This concludes my report.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Foster. Anyone would like to comment on Ms. Foster's report? Any commissioners?
I'd just like to echo the thoughts as to Ms. Addington and thank her for her great service and obviously guidance in the financial world. It's really been super helpful and vital to our organization. So thank you very much. And Ms. Foster, thank you for a great report. One thing I was thinking as you were going through it, you know, there's so many great things you're highlighting here. I mean, particularly during this time period where a lot of organizations are not functioning at high speeds, and you just knocked out a really long list of high-level activity that you guys have been doing. I'd love to see your report highlighted in our social media and maybe front and center on our website every month, so that if somebody wasn't able to catch the meeting, they can at least see all the great stuff that you're doing. So if the other commissioners agree, I think it should be something we look into, maybe with Ms. Turner.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And I think, I don't have my glasses on, but I think Ms. Harris gave us a thumbs up. Okay. All right.
I know one thing we've talked about in the past is having like a partner spotlight, and I know Ms. Harris Turner has been working on that and has put together a strategy on that. So I didn't know if she was going to do a separate report or anything, but just kudos to Ms. Harris Turner for the work that she's been doing on that.
Right. Thank you. And I've been noticing that. I've been seeing those highlights. So thank you for what you do. All right.
And shouts out to our technical staff. I've been asking for, some upgrades over here. So I really appreciate the effort. I want to give you a hand clap. I think this is good for our residents and our partners because it provides them a better experience for those that can't be here in person with us. So thank you for your work.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Clausel, you and your team. Appreciate y'all and Ms. Bibbs, providing this experience and hearing the clarion call from the board, and appreciate you listening. It means a lot. So we thank you. Ms. Avington, we just want to thank you for 14 years of exemplary service. I think I've been here for about half of those years, but we just want to thank you for all you've done for the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District and making sure that our finances were secure and you were being a good steward of those finances. And so, so we wish you well in your future endeavors. We hope that you move on to greater things, wherever that is, wherever that might be. We just wish you and your family well. And we just thank you for all you've done for this agency. All right, thank you. Couple things. I just want to make sure that I was listening about the rent, the obligation of rent payment. So we want to make sure that we are driving that home to our residents that even though, you know, we have these statutes and things that are put in place, you still are responsible for paying your rent. So I just want that to go out to whoever. You're still responsible for paying your rent. Like a mentor of mine used to say all the time, we believe in low rent, not no rent. Right. So you still have to pay your rent or whatever you need to do, your community service. We still expecting you to do that. I'm sure in some way there are ways to provide your community service without, you know, maybe, you know, jeopardizing your health and safety. But, you know, we just want to make sure. And the other thing is that we understand that we're living in hard times now, and folks are being laid off because of this pandemic and things of that nature. That's why we have processes in place. So if your income has dropped, then you go to the rent office and report the decrease. That way it will reflect on your rent. So, you know, we don't want to be a situation where you didn't pay rent for 3 or 4 months. And then once this statute is lifted, now you know, you're going to be responsible for a huge amount, and you didn't go report your rent decrease. And so now that creates another issue. So we just want to make sure that our residents understand that you have an obligation to pay your rent, and if you receive a decrease, then you need to report that. Okay. All right. And the other thing is I know we've been doing a really good job with our community engagement, getting the word out about voters registration and a census, filling out the census. That is key. And I think Dr. Hood brought it up a couple meetings ago. And so I'm going to bring it up again. I know we got about 2 weeks, maybe, maybe less than that before that process ends. So whoever has not filled out the census, if you're a resident, you need to fill out the census. And we need everybody, whether it's community engagement, property management, central office staff, CPAB, we need all hands on deck, because what you don't understand is if you don't fill out the census, you're working against your own interests if you're not being counted. And so, you know, we need to make a mad push. I don't know what we have in place toward the end here, Ms. Foster, but I would encourage our leadership, our communications to do whatever we need to do to make sure that everybody's being counted. I had a plan in my mind that I was going to try to get out here and knock on some doors, but I don't know if that's going to work. I'm experiencing some back issues, but that's how serious it is. That we've got to get these census forms filled out from each family. Each family needs to be represented. So I don't know how hard we need to drive that home, but please fill out that census.
And we're doing door knocking, so we're getting out there.
Okay, very good, very good. All right, any other commissioners want to add anything before we move on?
No, I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you did a partnership maybe with some of our county commissioners. And I think they were coming through our community, assisting with the census fill out and maybe voter registration. So thank you for what you're doing to be responsive, because just like Chairman Davis says, those census numbers impact a lot of things that impact our residents. It impacts free and reduced lunch. It impacts the amount of money we have for capital improvements and Section 8 vouchers and you name it. So we have to make sure that we're counted, because this only happens every 10 years. Right. And so if we don't get counted in the next 2 weeks, it's going to be 10 more years before we get counted again.
Very good. So I think we drove home our message. We want to get the census filled out. All right. Very good. All right. Okay. So financial services.
VP of Finance and Administration, Carolyn Abington. And her training team.
Mrs. Evelyn, is this gonna be your final report?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it is.
Oh, wow.
I know, I'm super sad. Oh, I don't know what's going on with this train. It's not centered. Okay, better. So I'm gonna do June, and this is Celine Kashama. She's the accounting manager, and Chantrice James, she's our senior accountant. So you'll be seeing them in the future. So I'm gonna let each one of them do a little bit, that way you get an idea. I know you guys are gonna be super nice to them, so, because I don't wanna have to come back. Okay, I'm gonna check that I know how to do this thing, right? I just click it? No? So I click one way, click the other, turn it on. Okay. Try it now. Okay. All right, so this is so we didn't have the board meeting last month. This is June 30th, and the reason I'm going to take the mask off. The reason I brought June is it's the end of the fiscal year. So normally I would not have brought you 2 months in a row, but since this is the end of the fiscal year and it was a new fiscal year for July, I thought, you might want to know something. So anything that has a number beside it, this is for our newest commissioner, that runs down the side. I'm going to give you an explanation for that. So it's more than 10% out of variance. And there are 3 sets of financial statements in this one. There's going to be public housing and central office, Section 8, the Housing Choice Voucher Program, and our business activities. So I'm going to start with public housing. And they, you can tell they have $39 million in revenue. So number 1 is the mod inspector salary, and we have revenue and expenses. So we don't have as much revenue, but we also don't have as much expenses. It runs through our capital fund program. Number 2 is other income. We're under budget and other income. The city cut us out of their budget last year, but we didn't know until we'd already presented our budget. So we didn't budget that this year. Number 3 is insurance proceeds are under budget. So we don't get our money for insurance until we've actually done the work. So our expenses and our revenue kind of don't meet the same. Number 4 is training and travel. Obviously, we're under budget in training and travel because people really aren't going too many places, although we still are training, but the majority of it's free. Number 5 is resident participation, and they're under budget. We had 5 sites that received funds. Sir, scroll the screen. That's so new, because I'm looking here. Okay, is that number 5? Okay, that was number 5. Okay, number 6, gas is under budget. It was just a warm winter. And number 7, maintenance under budget, because normally we will have overtime, but we have no overtime right now, with the majority of us working like 50% of the time. So we didn't, for 3 or 4 months, we had no overtime. So that left us with, did it start over again? I think it did, Trine. Yeah, I don't think all my stuff's here. Sorry. So that actually left us with about $1.8 million, and that's kind of real, not fake. But that's the majority of it's due to COVID, because we basically stopped everything going on. The screen's blank now. I have nothing.
Hit escape. Hit escape.
There's nothing. I just have a screen.
Oh, you don't have a keyboard.
I don't have anything.
Gotcha.
But I'll move on to housing choice voucher. I want to move to this one now. Okay. Do what? Talk? Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so housing choice voucher. Number 1, we're under budget in other income. We've absorbed the incoming ports. So for our newest commissioner, when other housing authorities send us, yes, that's it, perfect. when other housing authorities send tenants to us, we can accept them and put them through our program, or we can bill them, and we chose to accept them. We actually earn more money that way. Our salaries are under budget. Again, we sent our temporary labor home when COVID happened. So a lot of that is because of our temporary labor. Number 3, auto is under budget, and we weren't driving as much. We weren't going into people's homes and doing the inspections, and that was something that we were allowed under that CARES Act or a PIH notice, one of the two. But either way, we were allowed. Number 4, again, gas is under budget. It was a mild winter. And number 5, we're over budget in that, and we had to repair the HVAC system in this building, and that ran us over budget. So Section 8 did pretty well. They did 222,000, which is unheard of for them. They're normally totally at break even, but you know, I don't want to say there was good things involved. Why does it go black? Black. The last one is the business activity accounts, and this is basically just telling you the income and the expenses that we've had during the year. Something I should touch? Okay. This? No. So the expenses, the revenues for this are about $3.4 million, and they are the home funds. Can I do that? Okay. So we had home funds from the city, which the $750,000 will go to the villas at Titusville. We had our equity pay-in for Tuxedo Terrace at $2.6 million. We had a small developer fee that we get every year, 1/15 for Tuxedo Terrace of $68,000, Tuxedo Terrace 2. A little bit of interest. Our expenses were the Cirque basketball tournament that took place in January. We had some donations to a nonprofit. And then every year, HUD has a specific amount that you're allowed to pay an executive director. It's the executive compensation study, and it's the 4th pay in that study. That's the most you can pay out of what they call federal fund, or yeah, the federal funds, which they consider them Section 8, Housing Choice Voucher, Section 9, Public Housing. So I want to say that was like $170,000. So any amount of money paid over the $170,000 must come from non-federal funds. So that's what the $86,000 was. And you know, we just basically reconcile it from the beginning of our cash to the end of our cash. So at that point, as of June 30th, we had about $7.4 million in our non-federal funds. Okay, so now I'm going to let Celine do July, because it should be pretty good. You've got your own? Okay, you hit this thing here. I'm going to, I don't know what that is, why that's there, but here you go. That one to go up, the next one to go down. Well, yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, Commissioner and Ms. Foster. I am Celine Kasham. I am going to present the financial statement as of July 31st, 2020. As we all know, it's the first month of our fiscal year, so really there is nothing to report because everything is still under the 10% on threshold, so we are still fine. And at the end of July, we have like, we are in a hole of 16,000, but we are at the beginning of the year, so we'll have it change more as we go through the fiscal year.
No, you can proceed.
My name is Chantrice James, and I'm here to talk about the TARS write-offs for July. The ending balances close to 1,500. As you can see, the charge off for the month of July was close to $1,600. And so that's not bad starting off the fiscal year. Any questions?
No. No, you can proceed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Do we need-
the write-offs for August, we're gonna do them both in the same motion, Commissioner? Is that
That'll be
correct?
fine, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so remember I told you they would eventually go up. So here it is. We're almost at $40,000. The majority of them are at Marks Village, 25,000 from Marks Village. I don't know, but I'm guessing when they went through, they found units that had been vacated and did the write-offs because we were not doing evictions. So I'm just going to go with they found vacant units and, you know, went through the process that way.
Carolyn, may I add, we wasn't doing evictions for non-payment, but we were doing
Oh,
evictions due to
yes,
criminal activity, so that's included in it as well.
And there is a small amount of legal fees, and they all are associated with Marks Village, which we haven't seen that because we're not doing the evictions. But, so we had $38,000 in tenant rent, $800 in maintenance charges, $1,665 in legal fees, less the security deposit. So that's what got us to about the $40,000. When we look at that in relation to where we were this year to last year, we're still $70,000 under. So I promise you within the next, well, actually it may not be until January, February. If there's no evictions, you're not going to see the bump go until probably February of next year. You will see a huge write-off. And they have to be written off before the end of the fiscal year or it's detrimental to the agency's score. So please don't be angry at whoever has to bring it to you. It might be $200,000, $400,000. I don't know. It's going to be a lot. Unless everybody pays their rent. Pay your rent, like you said. So that's the end of that. Do you guys have any questions on August write-offs?
No, I don't have any questions. You know, I think you've done a good job of getting us prepared for what may be coming in the next few months. Once the moratorium is lifted on evictions, I think we'll see that. But I think we're prepared. You prepared us every month to make sure that we understand that it's coming. So
That's going to be frightening for our new commissioner.
yeah, it might, yeah. But we.
Oh, I'm going to talk to you before you leave. It's okay.
Oh, I am so sad to be leaving. It's very difficult.
Well, we again, we wish you well and job well done. And so I guess we need to entertain a motion for charge offs for a period ending July 31st and August 31st, 2020.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a motion that we approve the charge offs for period ending July 31st through August 31st, 2020.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that item's approved. Thank you, Ms. Abington.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right, good luck to you. All right. All right, so we're down to procurement. Mrs. Foster?
Carl Edwards, Director of Procurement.
Sure.
Good morning, Commissioners, and welcome, Commissioner Thompson. It's a pleasure to have you aboard. Hope you do great things for us. Today, I have 2 action items. The first of the action items are for approval of award of contract for pest control services. The Housing Authority of Birmingham District has approximately 4,446 conventional public housing units at 14 communities. Bids were requested from qualified individuals or firms to perform routine pest control service as part of the authority's integrated pest management program. Units will be treated every 30 days. Unit sizes ranges from 1 bedroom to 6 bedroom. In addition to the residential units, the qualified individual or firm will also provide monthly treatment at the authority's 14 on-site management offices, 14 on-site facility buildings, 13 community centers, and the Section 8 and central office building, also 7 daycare centers. 4 companies submitted bids in response to the IFB. The bids were evaluated, resulting in Knox Pest Control submitting the lowest, most responsible bid as referenced on the tabulation sheet. Therefore, management recommends award of a contract to Knox Pest Control to provide pest control services. Knox Pest Control has been working with the authority in the past couple of years, so they had their last contract and they had one previously back in, I think, 2010. So they haven't been around for a while. Any questions?
I don't have any questions about the awarding of the contract. I do have a question about the contract in itself, when the contract is going to be prepared. I just want to make sure, did I understand correctly that there will be some preventive maintenance? They will be doing preventive remediation, or will there be on a schedule? Will it be like on a regular schedule?
It's going to be on a routine schedule. It's going to be on a 30-day cycle.
Okay.
Now, if it was a new company that was starting out, then we'll start them out doing preventative maintenance, pest control, because they're new and to get them acclimated to the new contract. But since they're a returning contractor, then they're going to start basically at the stopping point where the contract ended and the new contract starts.
Okay. All right. And does this include rodent remediation as well?
Yes.
Okay. Because I know I've gotten a few calls and concerns from some residents about rodents, rats and things of that nature in some of these sites. And, so I just want to make sure that we are, addressing those issues as they come to us, or maybe being a little bit more proactive and making sure that we are, treating those units, closing those gaps where those rodents are coming in.
And we kind of made this one more comprehensive than the last one.
Okay.
So it has a little bit more, a little bit more detail in it for, so we can cover those items.
Okay. Very good. All right. If I can entertain a motion.
Chairman, I move that we approve the award of contract for Knox Pest Control for pest control services.
A second.
All right. It's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. That item is approved.
The next item is approval of award of contract for professional moving services. The Housing Authority of the Birmingham District Board of Commissioners approving the award of a contract for professional moving service on February 20th, 2017. Currently, ANHA Moving Service is under contract with HABD until March 12th, 2021. Based on the need for additional moving services to help facilitate all the current upcoming relocation activities for the agency, the HABD invited qualified independent contractors to submit bids to provide moving services. And this is just to create a pool of vendors so we can kind of spread it around a little bit. So if we do have additional moves that need to be handled, then we can have another company that can handle those along with the company that's already in the contract. One firm submitted a bid in response to the IFB. The following bid was submitted and evaluated. Lambert Relocation, Inc. submitted a responsible bid as recorded on the tabulation sheet. A review of contractor responsibility has been completed. Lambert Relocation, Inc. was not listed in the system for a board management disbarment database. The company also has an active professional business license issued by the state, city to perform this type of service. Therefore, management recommends that the contract be awarded to Lambert Relocation, Inc. to serve as an alternate to the above mentioned contractor. Any questions?
So essentially, they'll just be a part of a pool that includes 2 total.
It'll be
moving
2
companies.
total. Yeah, and that's just to handle we about to probably most likely have an influx of moving. So we're trying to make sure we're covered.
Mhm.
So there won't be no lapse in services so we can get the residents moved out, especially at Southtown.
Mhm.
All right, there are no questions. If I can entertain a motion.
Chairman, I move that we move forward with approving the award of contract to Lambert Relocation Incorporated for moving services.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that item is approved.
Right. Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, thank you, Mr. Edwards. All right, Human Resources, Mrs. Foster.
Calandra Jefferson Mitchell, VP of Human Resources.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
And congratulations, Commissioner Thompson, and welcome you. Good afternoon, everyone else. Commissioner, you have in front of you a request to approve the proposal from a qualified firm or individual for health benefits for employees. The Housing Authority of Birmingham District requests proposal from qualified firms or individuals to continue to provide group health insurance to its employees. The selected firm will provide health medical insurance services for all HABD eligible employees. Currently, HABD pays a portion of the monthly premium coverage as approved by the Board of Commissioners, and the employee pays his or her portion of coverage in accordance with the cost of coverage and dependent coverage elected. HABD pays 84.75%, and the employees pay 15.25%. All full-time employees are eligible to participate. One firm individual submitted a proposal in response to the RFP. The proposal was evaluated. The firm scored in competitive range of 80 points or above. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama received an overall score of 92 points and submitted a projected annual premium with administration fees of $2,418,933. The authority projected portion for the 84.75% is $2,050,046. The employee portion for the 15.25% is $368,887. This annual premium is consistent with the current amount for the fiscal year 2020. Also, the plan extends the authority's current grandfather health plan status, ensuring no penalties will be assessed during this period. Therefore, management recommends award of a contract to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama to provide group health insurance. So, Commissioners, we're requesting your approval.
All right, so I have a question. This is I'm just trying to get your opinion. If you don't feel comfortable answering it, I understand that as well. So why do you think that no other healthcare provider bidded on this item, in your professional opinion?
So I would have to defer it to procurement.
Okay. That's fine. Whoever wants to, provide information.
Come to the mic.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I worked in this industry a long time and around the country, many, many places. So when I came to Birmingham, I was surprised that Blue Cross Blue Shield still did business with us directly, because most agencies are unable to do business directly with the insurance company. They always have to go through these third-party providers. But we're lucky enough, and I'm not going to have them anymore, but we're lucky enough to be able to do that. I don't know why they stopped doing business directly with people and always going through third parties, but I know in the state of Florida or throughout the country, just not here, they do not do business like directly with them. You'll see, it's not United Healthcare, it's I'm going to use Kirby Insurance, even though they have nothing to do with this. It could be Kirby Insurance or some insurance, but not the actual name of the insurer. So we're lucky that we do it. And I think that's why others are not competing, because United Healthcare is not going to come and compete. They're not doing that any longer. They're sending it through. So when you go through the third party, you don't get the coverage. And we tell them, we have a grandfathered plan. This is what you have to cover us on, so that we keep our grandfather status. I don't think anybody can compete. So that's just my opinion. And like I said, 14 years ago, I was surprised because we couldn't get it then.
Okay. That's good information. Thank you. No, I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
Any other commissioners? All right. If I
One
can,
follow-up I would have is, did we, I'm looking through the document, did we notify anyone else of the procurement?
did you hear that, Ms.?
I did,
Okay.
yes, sir. We did. The RFP was mailed to 6 firms or individuals and 5 business organizations. It was also posted on the HABD Central Office for 40 consecutive days. It was published on the HABD Public Housing Authority Director Association, FADA, and the Housing Agency Market website. And then it also was advertised in the Birmingham Times and the Birmingham News. And so we had only the one, again, that submitted. So it was sent out. So it was advertised.
Yeah, I see now. Okay, so we sent it to Viva and Humana and United. Everybody had a chance to look at it at least.
Okay. All right. If I can entertain a motion.
One request on this.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, it looks like we mainly mailed a lot of these out. I think it might be a good practice in the future to try and find an email contact for a lot of the people we're sending these procurement announcements to.
Get that, Mr. Edwards?
And what we did was we reached out and tried to get email, so we can notify by email, but no one would respond. So the quickest thing we could do was to mail it out. So when we mailed it out, then that was just us saying, making sure that, that they, if they can possibly have it, they had that information as opposed to not having it at all. And then,
yeah, I know a lot of, it's oftentimes you're in a time crunch to get it out. But, for this issue, Viva, Humana, United, they're the only players in the game. So we should be able to figure out how to reach Viva. I mean, their office is right down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of concur. I mean, to say that you couldn't get the email, I don't know if that.
And that was the strange, and I'm being honest with you, that was the strange part about it, because I had my assistant calling every day trying to reach. That's why I extended it. It was a 30-day, it was out for 30 days, and then I did an additional 10 days when I only got one response from Blue Cross Blue Shield. So we were reaching out, trying to contact someone to respond, and most of the time we couldn't reach anybody. And that was strange to me also, because we were looking for emails. You go to their website and look for anybody to contact, like a support service type email, nothing. So, and like I said, and as Carolyn expressed, like the Southern region is locked in with Blue Cross Blue Shield. I mean, that is like, I think everybody's kind of not afraid to, but they're kind of not want to do business in the Southern region because of Blue Cross Blue Shield. So I'm just assuming that may be part of the issue.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not so much an issue. And if Blue Cross had the right plan for us, then great. It just would be, I mean, it just seems like we could find some emails, but it's just something to kind of try and do in more of these.
I tend to agree. I mean, I don't think it would have made any difference, but I do think
Yeah, and that's, I mean, like I said, I had my assistant searching, and that's what she came back with. So I was like, just mail it to them. At least if somebody gets it, they'll contact us. But like I said, there was no response from anybody. So like I said, when he reached that 30-day point, and I only got the one from Blue Cross Blue Shield, I told my staff to reach out again and try to contact somebody. And I extended for another 10 days. and still no response. So I just closed it out with Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a point of
Commissioner Hood.
clarification, is this an annual process? Is this an annual procurement?
It's a 2-year contract
2 year.
with the option to extend.
Gotcha.
So we can extend up to 3 1-year periods.
Okay.
And that gives that 5 years. The cap is 5 years. HUD specifies as a 5-year contract cap on contract. So we can go to at least 5 years before re-procuring it again.
Gotcha. Okay.
I was gonna say what Mr. Averton just said, that this is one of, when I hear other people talking, you know, they brag on our insurance. You know, some of the things that is covered, you don't likely find that. So we do have one of the best based on, you know, just information that I've gotten.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say if no other questions, I'd like to entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a motion that we award a contract to Blue Cross and Blue Shield for group health insurance for HABD.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor? All opposed? All right, that item's approved.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ms. Jefferson Mitchell. All right, assisted housing, section 8, Mrs. Foster.
Ms. Candy Drake, VP of Assisted Housing.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'd first like to thank you for allowing me to present my action items at today's board meeting. Doing so will permit continuous workflow within my department. Today, I have 3 items for board approval. The first item is the request for the update of the voucher payment standards for the Birmingham Metro Statistical Area. HUD made all of their FMRs, which stands for fair market rents, effective October 1st, 2020. And PHAs are to analyze their current payment standards to determine if an update is needed and to be in compliance no later than 90 days following their effective date. Our last payment standard effective date was January 1st, 2020, in which we were at 100% of HUD's rate. After reviewing the values of this year's fair market rents, it is my recommendation to have our payment standards at 105% of the posted HUD fair market rents. You can see that per each bedroom size, the rates slightly increase, which will allow my families the opportunity to find more affordable rental options and compete with non-subsidized renters. I have provided a chart at the bottom of the board action. To the left, in the first column, you will see the bedroom size. The second column states current FMRs as of 10/1/2020. That is the rate that HUD posted. The third column that states current payment standards at 100 of FMRs, that's where the families are at now, okay? And the fourth column where it says proposed payment standards at 105% of FMRs, that is where I would like to propose that we go to. And so on the last column, you will see the net difference. The net difference is from where we currently are to where I'm proposing it to go to. And again, I would like to just reiterate what the payment standards are, especially for our new commissioner, just so we're all on the same page. Payment standards are used to calculate the housing assistance payment, which is what we subsidize, our subsidized payments on behalf of the families. The higher that the payment standards are, that's more subsidy that's possible to be paid for that family on their behalf. The total payment is ultimately dependent upon what their total income is. It's an income-based program. Have any questions?
Yeah, so you're proposing to take the current standard FMR to 105%?
Yes, the HUD allows us to go anywhere from 90 to 110% of what they post.
Right.
Anything below 90 or above 110, you have to have HUD approval. Taking it up, I did analyze the numbers from where they are currently to 105%. If we stay to the current one, some of the numbers will decrease For example, if you look at the 4-bedroom, currently we pay $1,425. That's the payment standard. The FMR for 2020 is $1,409. So if we were to stay at the 100%, then our families would lose subsidy. So by HUD allowing us to go between 90 and 110%, we use that percentage within there to basically ultimately not make a family pay more than they're paying now. So the way that I saw it and I analyzed it was, we want our families to be able to get into higher, locations with higher rents and things like that, that provide better opportunities for them. If we decrease our payment standards or leave them at 100%, then they'll basically ultimately kind of not increase their way of living.
Right, and that's really my concern. And I know that, you know, we are in a process of a lot of our residents are going to be relocating, right?
Yes.
And they have those vouchers. And just take, for instance, let's use for an example of Southtown. Okay. So if they have a voucher, say they have a, you know, they have a 4-bedroom.
Right.
They have a voucher and they want to remain in that area. They want to try to find a home in that area, in that community, in the community where Southtown is located. If they took that voucher, and the voucher would be, if it went to 105%, that would be what, $1,479?
That's correct.
So, you know, in the private sector, I know in that area, you know, some of those, you know, houses and things with 3 and 4 bedrooms are, you know, in the private sector are going in excess of that amount. 17, 18, up to $2,000 a month that you could rent, that they're getting in rent, you know, for that area.
Right.
So my question is, have we looked at maybe going to 110% of the FMR and seeing how that would?
I did.
Okay.
And the reason that I did not go to 110%, because what we also have to, it's a balancing act, to be honest. I have to also look at taking the payment standards from 100% to 105%. It will increase what we call PUC, our per unit cost. So just by taking the payment standards from 105%, it increased our per unit cost $9 and some odd cents, because I can't be exact because I left the sticky note on my desk. But it's not over $9. So we have about 5,200 families on our program. So our per unit cost increases $9 times those 5,200 families. So if I increased it any more, then that would minimize or eliminate the amount of families we could also continue to bring onto our program and house. So I kind of have to find a more of a happy medium. But also one of my third proposals for board actions, you guys approved for me, which I brought to you in June of 2019, what we call small area fair market rents, which allows families in certain zip codes to get a higher payment standard. So we can look at that. It's one of my third action items, but that's ultimately kind of the answer to your question that I have for you.
Okay.
It was analyzed.
Very good.
Mr. So these numbers right here, these are just like the maximum amount that somebody could get for a voucher, but that could be adjusted based on their income.
That's correct. Absolutely.
And if they're looking at a 4-bedroom and somebody only wants $900 a month, then
right. And then also, like you said, this would be the maximum amount, the total amount. If the family has income, then of course they could possibly search for housing that's more than that, because they have the opportunity to also pay more toward their own living, which it would include their rent and or utilities.
And is it, the bottom line is this year HUD decreased the FMRs?
For some of them, yes, that's correct. Because if you look, some of them they increased and some of them they decreased. But I look at it as a totality based on how many families we have per bedroom size. Of course, we don't have a ton of 8 bedrooms, but we may have 1 or 2, you know. So I have to look at that in the 7 and the 6, and I go from there.
It looks like anything under 4 though, they decrease the amount of money offered.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you did a good balancing act.
Ms. Drake, are these national standards or are these adjusted New York versus Alabama? Like it?
Yes, that's correct. So these are, HUD has what they call data sets on their website, HUD.gov. You go there, it actually breaks it down to state and county.
Okay.
And then from the county, that's where you find your information.
Gotcha.
So it's even broken down smaller than states. It goes per county.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, I don't have any other questions. If no other commissioner has any questions, if I can entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I offer a motion that we approve the revisions to the voucher payment standards.
I second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that item's approved.
Thank you. The second item is the request for the update for the voucher payment standard for the Gaston statistical area. Last year, we were at 100% of FMRs for this MSA, and Gaston Housing Authority has decided to remain at 100%. Because we service 6 HUD VASH vouchers in that area, we must adjust to the area market payment standards. As you can see, it does provide a positive net difference. Please let me know if you have any questions. So again, just to kind of break it down a little bit, it's the same. However, as Commissioner Hood just pointed out, you would go to Etowah County, and when I go to Etowah County, it would give me the voucher payment standards for that area. We have 6 VASH HUD VASH vouchers in the Gadsden area. So that's why we have to have 2 different payment standards. We service those vouchers.
All right, any questions? Hearing none, if I can entertain a motion.
Chairman, I offer a motion that we that we approve the revisions of the voucher payment standards for the Gaston area MSA.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that item's approved.
Thank you.
Thank
The
you.
third item is the request for the update for the small area fair market rents. As I was stating earlier, in our June 2019 board meeting, the adoption of the small area FMRs was approved, which this approval allowed and does allow our HCV participants access to areas with high opportunity and lower poverty areas by providing a subsidy that is adequate to cover rents in those specified areas. And subsequently, it will reduce the number of our families that reside in areas of high poverty and concentration. I've provided a copy of the 2021 FMR rates, and I do have a copy of the 2020 FMR rates if you like them for comparison. So, just to give you an overview, a quick overview, the 4th page, you will see the 2021 exception payment standards. We chose these zip codes at our June 2019 board meeting for them to be a part of our exception payment standards area. Just a background, I did analyze every zip code that we service, and these are the areas that HUD depicted as having lower poverty. So that is how we got to these zip codes right here. These are the numbers. I apologize, I don't have the dollar signs on them. These are the numbers for the 2021. Again, these are the zip codes that basically give our families access to those higher areas with higher payment standards. And also, if you flip to the 4th page, I wish Commissioner Todd, previous Vice Chair Todd was here, because he really wanted to know this information. But nonetheless, you will see a chart that says areas with low deconcentration of families. From June 2019, from when you guys allowed me to adopt this, small area FMRs to September the 20th, when I did my report, you will see that there has been a drastic change in the number of families that weren't there in those zip codes that are now living there in those zip codes. So this has been very beneficial to deconcentrate poverty, in my opinion.
Do you attribute the increase directly to this approval last year?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Do you attribute the increase in residents in the document you were just referring to, June 2019 to September 20, solely due to the approval last year?
Absolutely, because if you look from June 2019, we had hardly no families living in those specified areas, and as of the date that I did this report, which was last week, September 2020, they've drastically increased on some zip codes. We're still working on the others, but.
Yeah. Well, I think that part of the report is great. I'd like to continue to keep an eye on that as things, as months go on.
Absolutely. If they continue to increase like this, I'm very hopeful that when we do CMAP, we can get those bonus points.
And I'd be interested to see how many of these are single family homes versus apartments.
That'd be great. More questions?
I don't have any questions. Thank you. Good report.
This requires board approval?
Yes, sir.
You ready, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Offer a motion that we approve revisions to the small area fair market rents for 2021.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, staff report, Ms. Foster.
Director Ken Foreman, Public Safety Report.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Congratulations on your appointment, Chairperson. And also congratulations to Reverend Todd on all the great things that happened for him in his life too. With me today, I do have Captain Sheila Finney. She's the commander of the CSP, officers that work on our properties. I'm gonna ask her to come on up. For our public safety report, I just want to make mention that the Public Safety Department and the CSP are actively working to build trust relationships with our residents and all of our communities. And we are focused on continuing efforts to reduce crime and make all of our properties a safe place to live. And if you look at our report, what you will see, the reoccurring theme is enforcement, community policing, and education. That's how we're combating the crime. Now, due to the recent homicides that have been in our community, I want to share with you just a few things that we're doing to prevent these types of crimes from reoccurring. We do have the BPB Vice Unit, which is actively investigating all complaints on gambling in our communities to prevent violence that results from these types of activities. Our CSP officers are also giving special attention to these types of complaints, dispersing groups, conducting community police and directed patrol tactics. Also, the BPD Domestic Violence Unit, they have been on our communities recently to teach and educate our residents how to file protective from abuse orders. And the CSP, our Community Safety Partnership Police, pay special attention when there's been domestic violence in our communities. And they increase their patrols, making arrests, and also they reach out to domestic violence units to provide additional education and material. Our CSP and BPD task force officers are constantly conducting special operations and increased patrols in our communities, and our officers are committed to directed patrols, street sweeps, and radar checks. I also just want to mention that the recent homicide that occurred in Harris Homes has been cleared by arrest and patrols have been increased. And to further assist in reducing crime, we have developed a conflict resolution tips flyer
And this has been posted in the Housing Authority properties and on social media outlets. And this has been posted in order to educate our residents in how to resolve conflicts without turning to violence. Also, we receive multiple tips daily, 3 to 4 tips a day regarding crime and policy violations in our communities. And these tips are forwarded to the CSP complaint system, where they are thoroughly investigated by myself, the CSP, and also other BPD investigative units. And these efforts have resulted in numerous arrests and illegal drugs and guns being removed from our communities. Overall, in our communities, crime is still on a downward trend with a negative 24.4%. I want to go over what you have before you and what's on the screen here regarding our stats report, and just want to touch on a few things. If you see something you want me to go back over again, please let me know and I'll go back over it. But concerning all of our housing authority properties, all of our communities, crime is still, as I said, on a downward trend, even with the uptick of some shootings and some different things, homicides that have happened. We're still headed in the right direction. We're still headed in the right direction. As you can see on page 1, with all of our public housing communities, crime, total violent crime, even though homicides are up right now, total violent crimes are down negative 23.1%. Our total property crimes, and this is all the housing authority properties together, we're down negative 22.3%. And when it comes to the total part in crime, those are the major crimes that happen in our communities. You might see on the screen where it says negative 22.7, but that has to be corrected. We're actually negative 24.4%. So we're headed in the right direction. Let me try to get us to page number 2. Okay. Now, in response to the recent homicides that have happened in our communities, and sometimes when these type of things happen, you know, when you work in law enforcement and you're strategizing every day, putting boots on the ground, people in place, and these type of things happen, even with your efforts, sometimes it'll make you wonder, are we doing the right thing? What can we do better? What if we had done, what would have been the result if this would have ever happened? But we are definitely meeting the challenge that is set before us. In response to the increase in homicides, the CSP has increased directed patrols in the areas where homicides have taken place. Operations are being conducted weekly to identify violent offenders and to prevent future homicides. In our strategy section, we understand that community policing is part of the thing that the CSP is doing. And with this community policing, we're gaining the trust of those in the community. When we first got started, I may have gotten 1 tip on the hotline per week. Now we're getting at least 3 tips per day. And so it does show me that trust is being built within our communities. And also, just want to share a few things we're doing with our strategies. Okay, I can't seem to make it move, but I'm gonna go ahead. We're striving to implement, okay, there we go, striving to implement some programs. And some of these programs are Safe Passage. Now, the CSP is in partnership with the Housing Authority. Also, Peace and Policy are currently seeking volunteers to participate in Safe Passage, Embrace the Village. We passed out flyers in regard to this, and we're gonna be looking for volunteers. We're also scheduled to be at one of the community meetings today, and we're going to be talking to those folks about volunteers on what was formerly known as Morton Simpson and now Reverend Todd Community. Also, just want to let you know, part of our strategies is Captain Finney and myself, we meet daily. We discuss the crime that's going on in the housing authority communities, and daily looking at ways that we can bring that crime down and prevent crime as well. Captain Finney also meets with the commanders, the other commanders within the Birmingham Police Department on a daily basis. There's stats meeting, ComStats meetings, and they discuss crime that's happening in the city, also crime that's happening in the housing authority as well, and redirecting resources to combat that crime. Now, another program we're going to be looking at getting started is the Neighborhood Block Watch. And the Safe Passage and the Block Watch, we met with the CPAB board in reference to this, and we look forward to getting it up and running real soon. Maybe Captain Finney will mention something about that in a minute. Also, just want to speak about our preventive patrols. The preventive patrols are, they provide increased police presence in our communities, in the areas where we have high crime, and also to prevent crime from continuing. In our communities, we have some that may be experiencing mental health issues. We're using the resources from the Birmingham Police Department, case social workers, and they come out and they actually provide services to our residents. We have also developed a new complaint form. The CSPs have developed a complaint form, which we have used instead of just getting complaints by phone or through word of mouth. We actually we have a form. We can put the complaints on the form, and now we can also not just thoroughly investigate the complaint, but get back to the person who made the complaint, whether they be a resident or a staff member, and give them feedback and closure, let them know what happened as well. Our officers have conducted operations on many of our communities: Morton Simpson, Smithfield, Ellerton Village, Marks Village as well. And we're doing this to bring down gambling, drug activities, and to prevent homicides and shootings in our communities. And I just want to make mention, I would like to highlight each month the community which has the lowest percentage in crime for the month. And this month, that community is Tom Brown Village. Their crime has gone down significantly in total violent crime. Tom Brown is down now negative 25.8%. In total property crime, they are down a negative 56.1%. And total part crime or major crimes are down 43.1%. And to conclude, the last page just shows our productivity report, just shows us what the officers are doing on a monthly basis, the boots on the ground. They're writing citations. They are writing citation for vehicles that are parked illegally, making arrests, misdemeanor and felony arrests. They are also doing checkpoints to make sure that individuals who shouldn't be on property are not there, recovering firearms, towing vehicles, removing stolen vehicles off of our properties, and answering complaints and doing business check and citizen checks as well. At this time, I want to ask Captain Finney if she want to come up and add anything that she wants to put on record, what we're doing to combat crime in our communities.
Good afternoon. I mean, basically, he's really completed everything in the report. Unless you have questions for me, something that you want me to go into more detail about, I'll be glad to. But thank you for allowing us to come and give this report today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I think I may have some questions wrapped around some comments. Yeah. And I don't want to seem like that I come across as presenting that you guys aren't doing, you're making your best effort. I don't want these comments to be, misinterpreted, but I don't think we're heading in the right direction. I know I got your talking points. I got that. I got the report. I get that every month. But I'm in these communities. I see what's going on. And with all due respect, I don't think we're heading in the right direction. Mr. Foreman, you keep saying we're heading in the right direction, and homicides are up by 30-something%. So if homicides are up by that amount, we're not heading in the right direction, in my opinion. yeah, I know we may be down in some areas, but it doesn't get any more severe than a homicide. And it just seems to me that we are placing more emphasis on numbers, aggregate numbers, than trying to see what we can do to be proactive about some of these crimes that are taking place. And not only just homicides, but shootings in general. And so I just think we're taking a predictable approach to some of these matters. And I hate to come down when I was reading the report and, you know, looking at some, you know, you guys had it down where, you know, some of the solutions that you were implementing as far as to try to reduce some of this violence. And, you know, you mentioned about an ice cream social, and that's all well and good, you know, to engage with the residents. But I would probably bet every dollar I got in my pocket, some of these people that are committing these crimes, well, all of them were not at that ice cream social, probably none of them. And so I just think we just need to take a more comprehensive approach to what we're doing. I don't have all the answers, but it just seems to me to be reactive. Like, well, we have a shooting or we have a rash event, now we want to increase patrols. Well, we should have been doing that anyway. You know, and so it just it's concerning. It's a little upsetting to me when I can get on my cell phone and go on the Facebook and see what's going on in these communities before you guys get there. Like, I mean, I can go on my cell phone to Facebook and I know what's going on. I know, you know, I know who's fighting here, who got shot here, who got cut here. You know, I know if I can get the information, I'm sure you guys can, you know. And so I just think we just need to do a better job of putting together a comprehensive plan. You know, I mentioned a couple meetings ago, you know, we were discussing about the number of officers that we had. And I'm still kind of concerned about the amount of officers that we approved in the resolution versus what we currently are dealing with and what was currently in the contract. That's concerning because, you know, I did not support a resolution for 12 officers. I can tell you that right now. It was supposed to be for more officers than that. And also, there was to be some revisions in there for 24-hour patrol if needed. And I just think we're in a crisis, and I think we just kind of, you know, putting out talking points and you know, glossed over reports. And I just think we got to delve a little deeper into what's going on. And you know, I don't have all the answers, but I just think we just need to kind of maybe try some different things because you know, this is not working. I don't think we headed in the right direction comprehensively. Yeah, we may be heading in the right direction in some areas, right? Yep. You know, rates are down, all of that. I think we had in some areas, but you know, I think that we're in a crisis mode, and not just in public housing, but you know, that's where we are, right? So we're the board of commissioners for the housing authority, not for anybody else. So I'm specifically talking about our sites at this time. I'm not talking about anything else. And I just think we need to do a better job of, you know, policing. I think we need to be more proactive. We need to take a more proactive approach and not just, you know, kind of sit on our heels and wait for something to happen and then try to address it at that point. So that's my soapbox.
Sir, I really appreciate the comments that you've made. Just going back to the ice cream social, that was put on by our community engagement unit. That's not CSP. They just came in because CSP, we are consumed with fighting crime in the housing communities every day. My schedule that I give every other week is designed around, and this is not reactive, this is proactive, because what I do look at every crime every day. We have a ComStat meeting, and what I do, I go in, and there's a computer a database that I look at, and I look at the times that the crimes are occurring in the housing community, so I could take my resources and put them there. Not only that I'm using the 14 officers that I was given, you know, to go to each of those communities to combat the crime, but I'm having to take those times and put those officers there at the times that I see the violence occurring. Not only that, with me having a narcotic background in operations, I won't say make, I have my officers doing operations. When Director Foreman mentioned radar operations, checkpoint operations, street sweep operations, those operations, particularly the homicides that occurred, Lord knows I hate that even one homicide went on within the housing community. But before those homicides even took place, I had my officers in the communities every week conducting what we call street sweeps. What that is, they go and team up together, those officers that I have, the 14, and the communities that are not as volatile as some, like Marks Village and Morton Simpson, I take all of my officers and put them together, and we go down to each one of those communities and conduct street sweeps. What we do, we stop everybody that's coming into those communities, make patrol stops, vehicle stops, run everybody through the computer, look at what type of history they have. Some of them have arrest warrants. We put them in jail. That's a way to me of getting people off the street that don't belong in the housing community, that may have a propensity to commit some type of crime before it actually happens. So that's one way, and that's something that we do on a weekly basis. I do apologize for the eight homicides that have happened so far in the housing communities. Of course, we had 6 last year. And again, I say it's not good that we have any homicides, but last year, the total violent crimes that we did have, it was 273. This year, we only have 210. I don't find any consolation in saying, okay, we have 210 this year as opposed to 273, but that's 23% less crime than we had in the housing community. And I have to even say today, Director Foreman reported 24.1%, 24.4%. As of today, we had 24.8% decrease in total crime and violent crime. So we're going to continue with what we have. Director Foreman and I have discussed every day about making amendments to the contract, because there are some things in the contract that we want to see change, especially when it comes to the number of officers, because it does, excuse me, it does delineate what we can do within the housing community with just 14 officers. They have to have off days. So I received a call right before I got here. It was one of my CSP officers. I stopped them from coming in one week from 9:30 to 1800 to conduct community policing, because we saw where we were having issues with increased violence as it relates to homicides. So I changed their schedule from 9:30 to 1800 one week to 1:30 to 10. And then the following week, they've always come in from 2 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So what I did, I pulled that database, like I said earlier, with the times that the crimes are occurring. So I switched their time to reflect the times that the crimes were taking place. But going back to my officer receiving a phone call over in Marks Village, and she was telling me about an incident that took place on today. And of course, they're coming in at 2:30. So what I'm asking the communities to do, and what Director Foreman and I talk about every day, we're asking them, don't call the CSP officer, call 911 to get an officer there immediately, because by the time they call the CSP officer called me, I call the dispatch and say, hey, get somebody over to Marks Village. We are working together real good with the housing community to get the crime down. but it's gonna need, we're gonna need a little bit more effort on all ends.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions? Myself.
I do have a few questions for my Director Foreman and Captain Finney. First of all, thank you for your service, and I know that this is a area of work that is constantly creating challenges and concerns, and so I share the chair's concern about, I think, the trajectory of the programming and how it will actually impact for this year. What I will say is I have a couple of questions based on just trends. I think it's very interesting, the difference in year-to-date 2019 and 2020, and I applaud that. My question would be, are there any trends that we can look at? For instance, you said that every month you look at the housing project that has, or the housing development that has the least amount of crime. So this month it was Tom Brown, the last month it was Tom Brown. Is that not correct here?
Last month, I think it was Illiton.
So this month is in August or September is Tom Brown. Okay, so Tom Brown was the last one that I'm looking at right here, right? Okay. And so my question though is, are there any trends that will show us in terms of this decrease that you've had, what neighborhoods or what developments had the least amount and what was successful in those areas, so that we could look at possibly implementing that across the board or applying it across the board in some sort of standard? So that's my first question.
I'm glad you asked. I should have mentioned that earlier. Right now, Deputy Chief Davenport, he's our commanding officer over the Patrol Bureau, and we developed a complaint system. Like I said, with my history in narcotics, that's all we worked on, complaints. So we sat down, and what I realized is that I would get emails from Director Foreman, I would get emails from Mr. Blankenship on violence or something that's going on within the community. What we're noticing now, and we're developing a database, with this being a new program, we are developing a database. I think I put on this last one, complaints answered. That one actually says 18, but I called Director Foreman back. We actually received 68 complaints from the housing community. Now, to answer your question, Illiton Village received the least amount of crime for July. Tom Brown received a negative 43%. Well, the difference in those communities as opposed to the other ones is the number of complaints that we get. I get complaints from Illiton Village every day. Hey, I have somebody on my porch, they don't belong here, they're gambling, they're outside now. Guess what I do? I call Miss Whitfield back, Miss Whitfield or Miss Body. The resident managers, the neighborhood presidents are very active. They're calling us constantly, and I'm able to take those resources that I have and send them directly to that community. So that's the difference. And it's so plain and clear. And I relayed that to Deputy Chief Davenport. So what we're developing now with the complaint system, we're trying to get the percentages to see, okay, this community is providing us with more complaints, and guess what? That community's crime is going down because we're communicating that relationship that we've been trying to build for the last year now. If you look at the communities where the crimes are going down, those are the communities where we're getting the most complaints, and we're able to combat that crime in real time.
Those are the communities also that are communicating with us the most.
Does that answer your question?
To some extent, yes. Thank you very much. Okay. I think maybe the next thing then is where you talk about resources are allocated to the more volatile communities based upon statistics. Is that where are the statistics based on the number of complaints, or is the statistics based on the amount of inferences that occur, and then you're redirecting service or resources based on the inference instead of based on, to some extent, a proactive approach to attacking it before it happens? Because I think
We're
that's
doing both.
okay.
We're doing both.
For example, we had one of our communities out in the western part of the city. It wasn't on property, but it was within the property area. The community itself had spoken to a community officer stating that we're having an upswing in shootings. We hear more gunshots. So I called Captain Finney and asked her to direct our officers out to that certain community. Even though there was nothing happening on our property, we knew there was a chance it could spill over into our property. So we reacted before something happened. So with a lot of these shootings, and I'm not trying to minimize it, it's been ripping my heart out. My condolences to the families, those that have suffered loss. Some of these crimes, and I don't want to pull the COVID card, but we knew that when the COVID came, that a lot more stress was going to come for families and people and people in relationships, a loss of job, income, those types of things. And so with that, there's been an uptick. But I do believe that education, trying to teach people how to handle their situation without violence does help somewhat. But there's been a whole lot, but we are trying to be as active as we possibly can as well.
I appreciate that. My last question or thought is just, I'm not of the mindset primarily that over-policing actually decreases crime. I think it's how that policing is showing up in that community. So I am somewhat concerned when we talk about the radar checkpoints and some of the things that even in your explanation of sort of how that shows up and sort of just pulling people out, what does that do to morale of community? Number one. Number two, what does that do? If they know that you're doing it, they also know how to deflect from it, right? And so how is that really being thought through in more of a systematic understanding of how we work with our community people, our community leaders on the ground there? And is it safe to actually give you a complaint, right? Are they, are people feeling like they will be taken care of in the event that, something leads from their complaint? And so I think, I'm not sure if the over-policing is the answer more than the effectiveness of the programming. And I think if there is some conversation around how to look at some national programs that have worked to decrease crime in some of these areas that don't necessarily lend itself to the immediate idea of over-policing, I'd love to be a part of that conversation because I just think that that's the trend nationally, that we are seeing a decrease in crime. And I wonder if that's about a part of your conversation here. Okay, great.
Policing. If
Yeah.
you notice the two strategies that
Yeah.
we have, the preventative
Yeah.
patrols and the community policing. The community policing is the strategy that we are using to get out there and build those relationships with the people in the community without having to put people in jail. Our officers go out, like Director Foreman mentioned, we go out with handouts, flyers. We go have our domestic violence. We see domestic violence. I'm sorry. Those are my flyers. As a matter of fact, that's one of my strategies, safe passage. And so we're going to just have several people standing out on a route when school starts back. I talked to the principal at Hayes K-8, and our officers, along with people, residents in the communities, we're going to partner together. As a matter of fact, we have 13 residents right now that have signed up. I can't think of the young lady's name today, but we'll be there around 2:30 today. And I'm meeting with them, and we're doing the application process. And the young lady told me today, hey, this is what I like to do. I just want to be there for the children in the community. So we are reaching out more than just policing and putting people in jail. We're reaching out by community policing and just trying to be there for the community as a whole.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, questions? All right, thank you for your report.
Thank you, sir.
All right. All right, Section 3 report. Ms. Foster.
Ms. Jacqueline French, Interim VP of Support Service and Special Projects.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Interim President, CEO, Ms. Foster, Board. Welcome, Commissioner Thompson. This is going to be quick. I promised my coworkers that I would be brief, well, I take it back. I said I would be brief. I did not make any promises. So, so I've come before you today to give you just a brief overview of Section 3. Don't know if you've ever heard of Section 3. I know it's new to maybe you guys. Don't know if you had a chance to take a look at it. So we'll just jump right in. So before you on your screen, you should have just pretty much Section 3. I have Section 3 Workforce Development Program because to me, Section 3 cannot work properly without workforce development. And that's making sure that the residents understand and they are equipped for the job opportunities that can become available from projects that are done within the community. So let's see. How do we do this, Terrain? Are y'all moving? No. Okay. Okay, there we go. So exactly what is Section 3 and where did it come from? So we'll take a trip back to the 60s during the Civil Rights Movement. That was a time of duress. Schools were segregated, neighborhoods were segregated, redlining was going on. Inner city communities with high minority populations were plagued with unemployment and crime. In these neighborhoods, there were barriers such as transportation, education, and training. So as the laws changed to integrate schools and neighborhoods, provisions had to be made to ensure that minorities were given a fair chance. So one of those provisions came out of the HUD Act of 1968, which is Section 3. So the purpose of Section 3 is to ensure that employment and other economic opportunities generated by certain HUD financial assistance shall, to the greatest extent feasible, and you will hear that a lot, to the greatest extent feasible, and consistent with existing federal, state, and local laws and regulations, be directed to low and very low income persons, particularly those who are recipients of government assistance for housing, and to business concerns which provide economic opportunity to low and very low income persons. So within that, you'll see that it talks about low to very low income persons. Section 3 is not gender or sex based. It has to do with your income and where you live. So who is a Section 3 resident? Anyone who is a public housing or Section 8 resident, a homeless person, low to very low income resident of the metropolitan area. So Section 3 does not mean it's only for our residents who are in public housing. Section 3 goes out into the metropolitan area, meaning a homeless person, meaning someone who, we'll stick with Southtown. If you don't live in Southtown, but you live in that area and you are unemployed and you're low to very low income, you are considered a Section 3 resident. The HUD allows PHAs to prioritize who the assistance goes to. And for us, we prioritize our residents. Our residents are our #1 priority. So if there's anything, if there's any projects that go on and there's some opportunities, we have to let our residents know first. They are our first priority. This regulation also stated business concerns. So what is a Section 3 business concern? Are you guys on that slide? What is a Section 3 business concern?
Partially.
Okay, yes, going a little. Okay. So Section 3 business concern, there are 3 ways to be a Section 3 business concern. 51% of the business has to be owned by a Section 3 resident, or at least 30% of your full-time permanent staff, which are Section 3 residents. And then thirdly, if you do not meet those other 2, thirdly, you can show evidence that you will subcontract 25% of the total amount of your contract to a Section 3 business. Okay, I know that's gonna be a little confusing, but not, okay. So what kind of jobs are available through Section 3 covered projects? There theoretically, most jobs that come out of Section 3 covered projects are construction, but that is not the case. We have administrative, management, accounting, payroll, marketing, research, all on all levels. Any level jobs can come out of Section 3 opportunities. So once, and we talked about this earlier, who has the priority? Our residents are our #1 priority. Then we move on to, and when I say our residents, the residents where the work is being performed, and we'll continue with Southtown. We're in the middle of relocation with Southtown. So any opportunities that come out of contracts being awarded to Southtown go to the Southtown residents first, because that's where the work is being performed. Then if it's exhausted, we'll move on to the other sites to other housing sites, and then on to Section 8. Also the youth build, and then into the community, okay? And a lot of housing authorities, they prioritize homeless people and their residents first. And that is something that we're looking to do as well. I know you guys have a copy of the policy. The policy was it was revised back in 2016. HUD is right now, they have a new proposed Section 3 rule that has been released. It has not been approved. So all of this I'm teaching you now, talking to you about now, will soon change. So I'll be back to the mic to talk about that. Okay, so how can a resident find out about Section 3 opportunities? Flyers, newspapers, social media, contractors, subcontractors, community leaders, workforce development, and my favorite is the housing authority staff, because the staff, be it management, be it myself, FSS, anyone who deals with our residents, they are the main source for our residents to find out about these opportunities. Although it falls on the contractor to make sure the residents know of these opportunities, but to be successful, I think we have to work as a team, because the contractor, they have work to do. They absolutely have work to do. And our job is to make sure the residents know of these opportunities that are before them. And as far as an agency, we do have numbers, we have goals. The Section 3 regulatory requirements for compliance is 30% of the aggregate number of new hires shall be Section 3 residents, which means if you're new hires, if you're hiring anyone to do, if a contractor is hiring, 30% of those new hires will need to be Section 3 residents. There's no way around that. If you're hiring, 30% will need to be a Section 3 resident. 10% of the total dollar amount of a covered construction, meaning as an agency, when we award contracts as far as construction, 10% need to be to Section 3 business concerns. And 3% is the total dollar amount of covered non-construction contracts. And that could be something like the architect, those things that are not, and that's pretty hard to find a Section 3 business concern that's non-construction. But you know, sometimes we do find that, and it works out. That is it for the brief. Was that brief? Yeah, okay. The brief overview of Section 3. I know the last board meeting, I'm going to give you just an overview on Southtown redevelopment and where we are with Section 3. So we put some signs out throughout all 14, maybe 14 or 15 communities, with the text information sign, yard signs that we put out. And so pretty much what that is right now, if residents, if they want to keep up with information opportunities for Section 3, they can text Section 3 to 474747. We did that as a way to keep up with, for our residents to be able to keep up with the opportunities that are coming, because like I said, the first priority, I'm talking Southtown, the first priority is Southtown, where if they relocate, you know, they can't just, you know, come out of their homes and work. They'll be relocated. So this is one of the ways that we implemented being able to communicate with our residents through text, through email, Of course, we still use through mail, phones, however we can. And we're still collecting data from our residents. Been working with the Campus of Hope and the community engagement. When they assess their residents, they've added a Section 3 piece. So that's helping us to create a database to when the bulldozer comes and the work begins, we'll already have those residents who are willing to work. We already know what they're interested in. We know what their skill sets are. Section 3 and Southside Development, we meet bi-weekly to discuss the plans to make sure that we implement everything that was put in the MDA. We're doing great things. We're at this point trying to make sure we meet those requirements as far as Section 3 business concerns and those job opportunities. Any questions?
Go ahead, Dr. Hood.
Yeah, Ms. French, thank you for the report. I'm thinking about like a lot of our young people, particularly our high school students. Do we have partnerships with some of the other agencies around town, or get them like apprenticeship programs, the summer stuff where they can, you mentioned workforce development, so making sure that they have the skills necessary so that when these job opportunities come up, they can come in and get those.
Yes, we do, and that's actually through the community engagement. We do have those partnerships. The thing about Section 3 is you fall in line with those contractors who have HR issues. Like for instance, if they can't hire someone at 16, they'll have to go and get a permit. So normally, if the contractor is able to hire a child or a teenager, then of course they have to go through just the regular protocol to be able to do that. But for the most part, a lot of our contractors, they're looking for youth bill age. I believe that's what, 18 to 25.
Okay.
But we do have those partnerships, but it is through community engagement.
Okay.
And I was going to add, with the Youth Bill Agency, and the Youth Bill Program, we work with Greater Shiloh Baptist Church. They administer that program, and we're on that council to work with them once those kids graduate to put them into these type of work.
Okay. I'm also thinking about like Central 6 works and stuff like that. I know they got like a lot of programming and AIDT, so I don't know if we had like formal partnerships.
AIDT is at the Campus of Hope. Yes.
Okay, all right, perfect.
Very good, Mr. I don't have any questions. Any additional questions? Thank you.
Okay, I did too. The last Commissioner Pentazis asked about the demolition joint venture. So I did reach out to Eminent Contracting, and as far from the information that he gave me, he says that that venture has dissolved. That doesn't mean that there's not any other opportunities within the Southtown project, but that venture has been dissolved.
This is
Are
Ms.
there any
Davis.
plans? Ms. Lewis, you go ahead, I'm sorry.
This is Ms. Davis. As far as eminent domain, Ms. French, you knew about that. You know, we never did sign a contract with them in the first place.
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
So we are a Section 3 company. We are called The Alpha. We are in Washington on the Section 3.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Pentazis.
I saw Ms. Lewis on mute, so I thought she might want to say something first, but if not, I'll go ahead. So is there any plan to replace that partnership or entity that was going to facilitate the Section 3 work at Southtown?
Well, as far as the joint venture, no, I'm not aware of any type of anything to replace it. But as far as any type of Section 3 work, as far as the contracting, it really depends on what type of opportunities through contracting comes up. Any Section 3 business concern can bid on any type of contracts that we have. Also, and I'm not really versed on the procurement of resident-owned businesses, but any type of opportunity that may arise through Southtown, we welcome any Section 3 business concern, any resident-owned business to participate.
Well, have any of the development partners discussed putting together a new joint venture?
Not to my knowledge.
So what I'd like to do is I would like to see if we could have a subsequent discussion concerning this this matter concerning the demolition, because I'm not 100% sure on exactly where we are as far as the on the procurement piece. So I would like for us to have a subsequent meeting to see where we are with the demolition and to see how we can address the concern as far as making sure that our residents or a representation of our residents are a part of the demolition process. I think you raised a good point, Commissioner Pantazis, and we definitely want our residents to be a part of this process if at any way possible, to the greatest extent feasible. So I want to have a meeting as soon as possible to see what can be done with that. Yeah, Ms. Foster, I think you were going to say.
I was going to state that I did have a discussion with CPAB, and one of the things they want to do is continue their training, so that once this demolition comes out to be bid, they'll be more prepared and get clear understanding of what their next steps are to put a bid out for this demolition.
Okay.
So we are working on that to get them to have that training started.
That's good.
And as far as the demolition, what's our estimated time as far as commencement, when that would take place? You got a ballpark date on that?
I do not,
Okay.
but we do plan to come back to the board, if possible, if there's a special board meeting or the next board meeting to discuss next steps in regards to demolition once we get the parcels and stuff in place.
All right, very good. Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, how many Section 3 residents do we have working with construction right at this time?
Oh, Ms. Lewis, I really wish I could get you that answer. I don't have it with me right now, but I'll definitely get that to you.
Okay.
Yeah, but we do have several projects still going on. We found a lot of our as far as construction, I don't see where we have any projects going on right now. The only construction project that we have going on right now, we have some roofing. I actually just sent over a list of 10 people to work on the roofing. They needed 3 people over at Roosevelt City. Then also at Kimbrough Homes, we're doing HVAC over there. We do have 1 working over there. But the majority of our Section 3 residents are working with Supreme Clean. She just actually called me today and asked for, she needed two more laborers with Supreme Clean. Also, we have a new lawn care contract. She asked for 3 people, so I sent names over there. So as far as construction, like I said, the only ones that I see are the small construction. And I did forget one, Safford. Safford is working when he has 2 with him. So as far as construction, those are the projects that we have going on with those residents.
Okay, well, will these be long-term projects, working more than a week? And the reason I ask, because most of the residents, if they get a job, they need a job that'll help to pay rent or to pay bills. But if it's only going to be a couple of days or a week, that's not considered a job for them.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be just real frank with you. I actually don't play that. We talk about that when I talk to the contractors about longevity. All the jobs that I did mention to you, these if they are still working, it's not because the project has ended. Some of them may work because we do have some turnover where some of the residents may not show up, or they may not come to work, or they may work themselves for a week and then not show back up. The contractors are real good at calling me and letting me know that if someone didn't show up and they ask for a replacement. So they're very good at that. But for the most part, if a resident works out, they are there to the duration of the project. We have had in the past with construction with Treywick. Treywick just finished Freedom Manor. Treywick employed 2 of our Section 3 residents, and they are still working with Treywick today. So we do have some great success stories with people still, finding permanent employment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I'll say if you could just get that information, a written report or whatever, send that in to Ms. Foster. Ms. Foster, you get that to us. That way we can disseminate it out to all the commissioners.
Will do, yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. French.
Thank you.
Get everything, Ms. Foster? Any more reports?
One more.
One more? Okay.
Freedom Manor.
Okay, all right, okay, all right, very good.
Valerie Holmes, Biotech Compliance Manager. This is our finale.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So I would like to discuss with you the safety guidelines we have in place for Freedom Manor. As you know, we were planning to move everyone in March. COVID-19 hit, and that just changed a lot of things. During that time, we've had an opportunity to learn more about this health crisis and how we can better prepare for our residents coming back to the property and for our staff that will be working in the building. So you have a copy of the guidelines. This information is a combination of information from the CDC, our local, state, and health officials, as well as best practices from the local housing communities. For our leasing office and building safety, we're asking our residents, even guests, to make appointments before coming to the office. Also call the office if you have any questions, and this pamphlet will be distributed to everyone upon moving in. We're stressing wearing face coverings and social distancing. We have signs all over the building. At the elevators, we have markers in the floors. We have sanitizing stations at the elevators, at the laundry room. So we have a lot of things in place to try to help ensure safety. As for rental payments, we're asking our residents to use check and or money orders and drop them in our rent box. That's just gonna kind of eliminate contact with the staff. For service requests, we're asking residents to call maintenance. We'll call the office and we'll send maintenance out. We're stressing that they social distance when someone comes into their house to do a service request, or if the manager has to come in for any reason, to social distance and wear a mask. As far as the common areas and shared space, like your community room, your fitness center, those areas will remain closed until further notice. When we see the COVID-19 numbers decrease, then we can modify this arrangement. But right now, our first priority is making sure that our residents stay safe. Also, we're recommending that no more than 2 people ride the elevator at a time, and then social distance. As far as residence events and gatherings, same thing. We're postponing all resident events. We're discouraging any gathering in the community room, again, until further notice. HABD's community engagement team, they are assigned to Freedom Manor, and they're going to find ways to keep our residents engaged, to make sure we're meeting the needs of our residents during this time. As far as the mailroom and deliveries, the mailroom is still available. We're just asking everyone to remain 6 feet apart. If they have any special deliveries, we're asking them to make arrangement with the delivery company to either meet them directly in the lobby, or they can have the delivery person to come to their unit. Laundry facilities, Same thing, no more than 2 people allowed at a time, social distance, wear your face covering. Sanitizing stations will be available outside of the laundry room. Visitors and guests. Now, we're recommending that residents keep their guests limited. If it's not a visit that's going to help you personally or with any kind of medical condition, just socializing, just because if you can avoid that, we're stressing that they avoid that. We can't, we're just stressing that they avoid that because that's going to limit the exposure for everyone else in the building.
Someone can you scroll the page?
Oh, sorry. I need to point it somewhere. Okay, is that okay? Yeah, so as far as visitors, asking residents to be mindful of their guests and try to limit visitors. Make sure they follow the visitor policy, sign in and sign out of the building. These other recommendations are things that we're hearing in the media. The CDC, if you're sick, stay home, contact your health care provider. Just try not to be in close contact with people who are sick, wash your hands, just things that we've been hearing on a regular basis. And so far, this is what we've put in place. We're waiting on the residents to come back next week, hopefully, prayerfully. And then as things change, we're going to modify our plans accordingly. Do you have any questions?
I have one or two. Is there any mechanism or plan in place for routine testing or contact tracing?
We discussed that possibly because we do have agencies that come out to our other sites to test. And that's one thing that we are considering. We haven't planned it, but we did discuss it. So we do want to make it happen at some point.
I mean, it would seem wise before re-entry to at least do the testing at a minimum. And I would consider doing, offering it more frequently, at least in some sort of routine fashion. And then again, the contact tracing component, once everybody gets in there, at least having some sort of method to follow up with people about, who they've been around and how certain exposures might have occurred. This stuff moves so fast, we may not be able to get a handle on it.
I do want to add, Commissioner Fantastis, that we had a meeting with the residents to request to have testing prior to moving into the building. We did have a few kickbacks from some of the residents that are refusing to have the testing. Of course, we can't make it a mandate, but we do encourage them to get tested prior to. We have an agency that we're partnering with that will be doing testing at Freedom Manor on a monthly basis. So we're working to have them to be available during the leasing time to get those that are willing to be tested to take the test. So we're encouraging the residents to be tested before moving in, but some of them are not willing to do so, but we're still encouraged.
This goes beyond just COVID, but I guess I've just always been concerned about just the physical security, having, like a physical presence, I don't know, around the clock or maybe just particular hours. I just think about, that is a vulnerable population in a lot of different ways. So, video cameras and having like a physical presence there, I think it's going to be important. So I love to continue the conversation. I don't know if this is the right venue to talk about security, but I certainly want to talk about that.
We could.
Yeah, that's the right venue.
Would you like
Yeah.
to? Would you like to
I can,
answer that?
yeah,
She could
briefly,
address it.
we are gonna, so Freedom Manor is a controlled access building. You can only get in if you have a key fob.
Okay.
We do have a courtesy officer that lives there.
Okay,
So
good.
he will be accessible to our residents.
Good.
Yeah, so, and we do have cameras.
Good.
Cameras, so.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
And one of the things that the residents are requesting is to have someone downstairs to monitor, you know, when the office closed. So we're at this point, we don't have that capability at this point, but we're working to find funds to allow us to bring additional person in to sit at the front desk when the office closed, so they can buzz people in and out as they come.
And you might have mentioned this. I know a lot of places do the temperature checks before you come in and out of the building. You might have mentioned that already.
No,
right?
I did not.
Okay.
No.
Um,
So we can.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Foster. Oh, that.
You have any other questions?
Maybe that was she was gonna ask about.
Yeah, I think you asked Ms. Lewis question for her. Yeah. All right, very good. With nothing else, that completes your report? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. All right, Ms. Foster, does that complete our reports?
That concludes.
Okay, all right. All right, do we have anybody desiring to speak before the board? Is anybody signed?
Ms. Davis was want to speak.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Ms. Davis.
Okay, what I want to talk about is the police part. I have a problem with when they're out there gambling during the day. He said that they had police out there that was patrolling the areas. I can't understand how they did not see the guys gather in those different spots. I still have a problem with people in the community standing on the corners. If the police are out there patrolling and they just standing there, they're not at nobody's house, then why are they in our communities? I still have a problem with them standing in the alleys, standing on the corners and gathering. If this is a pandemic in the first place, it said to stay at home. And I don't see why they are in our communities, because basically it be the people that's from the outside that's doing the shooting and killing each other, but they come to our community to do it. That makes no sense to me. And every time he say that it go down, somebody get killed 2 days later. I have noticed that every time he has said that. They need to get better. I'm with you, Mr. Davis, on what you said. It is true. Because nobody comes to Benjamin Green. I don't have nobody holler out at Roosevelt. They were supposed to come and sit over here. We have guys coming at night doing their transaction in our community because it's kind of dark over here. And I have reported that. But we don't have police coming and patrolling our area at all. I know because I'm here and I watch. So,
Ms. Davis, who did you report it to?
who I reported it to?
Yes, ma'am.
Downtown, when I have my meetings,
Okay.
we talk about stuff like that
Okay.
and what's going on in the communities. I haven't had them to call me. If they call, I hadn't talked to any of them. And I haven't been on the phone conference that they've been having. Because I hadn't got an email about some of the times that they meet. But if I do, I will, start being at those meetings and let them know exactly how we feel about what's going on in those communities. Because I think it's that if they're not at somebody's house, they don't need to be in our communities. Because we are responsible for any company that we have at our house. But for you to be out there just standing on our corners, that's not safe for anybody. And I just don't understand that. I really don't. So that's my kick on that. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
All right. Thank you, President Davis. Did you get all that, Ms. Foster? Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Is anybody else desiring to speak before the board? All right. We're going to ask one more time. Is there anybody else desiring to speak before the board? All right. Hearing none. If I could entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. It's been moved. We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. This meeting's adjourned. Have a good evening.